Yeah, hello, how's it going, tech guys? I'm Babs, and this is AI Infotech channel, where we will deal with technicality in technology. We talk about text, give guidelines, and create class to show audience how this is being done. To show people who are interested in technology and who don't know about basic things about technology or does not know a particular thing about it. Introduce to them in order for them to know how a certain task is being done and for them to learn from it and make a life a lot easier. Now onto this one is what is basic router configuration. In the last class we talked about what network layers. Now onto this one is what how you can do some certain configuration on the router, the basic router configuration. Now in this one we provide a basic parameter of your Cisco router, including global parameter settings, routing protocol, interface, and command line access. It also describes the default configuration to start up. Now guys, what we actually want to do is what make you to understand some certain things when you're dealing with routers. For newbies, you'll be wondering where should start from. You don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do that. Where should you start from? We want to introduce to you how you can start after you already know how to lay out the computer successfully. How should you start configuring your router? Is very essential in what computer networking. Now when you start, it's the same way you do it virtually, like the same way you set it on your Cisco packet tracer. It's the same way you're going to set it up when you're doing in the real life scenario. Now guys, how do you start? Now the first thing you should do is to double click on the router. If you are using if you are doing it in the physical room, all you need to do is to console it by using porting, which I explained to you in the last class. Now we will be carrying out a lot of tasks on this one, and as I will be doing this, I will be explaining one by one for you guys to know what I'm actually passing or the information I'm trying to make you know in this class. Now each section includes a configuration, example, and verification step as available. For complete information how to access global configuration mode, which I will be explaining to you in this class. Now the first thing you are going to do is to enter the CLI, which is the command line interface. And once that is being done, the next thing is to start doing some basic things. Now you need to gather some or all the following information depending on your plan network scenario period to configuration your network. Now this configuration, it has to do with you in a normal note. It has to do with you. It has to do with the type of configuration you are doing and the settings. Now depending on the type of configuration that you are asked to do, that your boss asks you to do on that particular task. Now the first thing you should know is these little things that usually count. At least as a newbie, you can't just go at the front of a router and you don't even know how to enter into the enable button. You don't even know how to enter into the configuration mode. It's very porous. It will be very catastrophic. That's why it's good to learn, to make life so easier, to learn from those who have learned it in the past in order to carry on the information on and on to the next and 100 generations. Now guys, the first step I'm going to do is explain to you what the enable modes. Once you get into the router command line interface, the first thing you are going to ask is that would you like to continue this configuration, this default configuration that comes along with the router. The best thing you are going to do is type no, I'm not continuing with this configuration. I want to start creating my own configuration, so you can better understand what we are doing here. Now the first thing you're going to learn is how you can enter into the enable mode. There's enable mode, there's global configuration mode. Now what you are enabling in order to enter into the enable mode, like enable configuration. The enable configuration is the one you enter before you started configuring your router. And how do you enter into the word enable mode? You enable the router, which is you are telling the router to what, to open the ports, so that you'll be able to what, to do necessary thing. After type the enable, you click on enter, and it takes you into this one, into this mode. This mode you cannot configure your word, you cannot configure your router. It is this mode that will take you to the place whereby you what, you configure your router, and you can get out of this word, this configuration, by what, by typing configure terminal. Now this this mode here helps you to view the configuration of your what, of your router, which we are not going to do now. Now we are going to enter into the configuration mode, where we will be what, configuring the router for us to what, for us to make use of it. Now for us to do that, like I said earlier on, I'm going to press what, configure terminal, then you click on enter. Now you've entered into the what, into the global configuration mode, where we will be doing some certain things here that I will be explaining to you. Now the first thing we want to do in this class is what, is setting up the host name. The host name must be what, must be most first thing you do when you are working on a router, so that you can identify the router very well. Now I will be naming my host name, and I will be naming it what, naming it AI Infotech. Now that's what I will be what, naming it. Now to set it, you can write it down. You say the host name, then you write, I will do it AI Infotech. I'm using this case. Can you see that it has changed from router, which is the default name, and has changed the word to AI Infotech? It's very easy to do. In as much as you are what, you are using the syntax right, you will get the word, the right answer. Now the next thing you're going to do is to set the banner. The banner is the message of the day. It helps you to denote, I mean, you can use it to denote what the router is working for, or to a welcoming note. Okay, in my banner, I will be using it as what, as a way of welcoming anyone who is visiting, and to put in some notes for people to be aware. Now in my banner, I will say, banner MOTD welcome. Let me just use this as an example. You can leave me anything. Enter. Okay, banner, you do it in this way. You use what is it called, a symbol. Okay, use a symbol. Must use a symbol, I mean, to like think of the syntax. Okay, now enter text message, enter with the count of W. Now we are going to solve that now. Now to set up the banner, we have to get out of the word. Okay, we use say okay guys, as we continue, we say banner MOTD. Okay, then you use any symbol. You can use the word the $sign. Then you can give the word message. You can give it in the form of warning or you welcoming notes. Warning, depending on the word on what you want to use the router for. You can just say unauthorized access strictly prohibited. So definitely you are giving a warning that no one should access or touch this router. Then you close it with the word with the same symbol. Use the $sign, then enter. Now you set the word, you set the banner, based on what you are using it for. So guys, that's how to set banner. You'll be wording what the MOTD means. It means the message of the day. Alright guys, you can change that constantly as much as you want and as much as you can. Now when that is being done, we go ahead and password our router. Like now it's very important you password your router so that other people won't have access to it and for security purpose. Now to do this you go ahead and type enable secret word secret. Now enable secret. What can you do? I'm going to use Cisco so I can easily remember while I am showing the proof of what I've been doing for you to know that it's working perfectly. Now click enter. Now that has been done. Now the next thing is to set your IP domain looks up. Now this disable the router from translating unfamiliar word typo into an IP address. That's what this does. It translates an unfamiliar words. It helps you to disable the router from translating unfamiliar words. That's what this does. Now we are going to type in no IP domain lookup. Then click on enter. That's that on that. Now the next basic thing you should know, the next command you should know is the fast Ethernet LAN interface. It's very, very essential you know about this. That is why I'm going to explain to you. This interface on your router are automatically configured as part of the default virtual local area, and such as they are not configured with individual addresses, which means you have to assign the IP address yourself. Access is afforded through the VLAN. You may assign the interface to other VLANs or desire for more information about it, which I'm going to do right here. Now to configure the fast Ethernet, what you need to do is to identify the interface of that router that you are assigning the IP address to. If you are using a serial cable, you should know that you'll be using a serial interface to assign the IP address. And when you are using the fast Ethernet, which is the internet cable, you should know that you will be assigning that IP address to the fast Ethernet interface. Now as we go on in this class, as we go further in the future, I will introduce to you more how to do this, how to assign an IP address to the serial as well as to fast Ethernet and other important interface. Now what I'm going to do first here is to show you how you can access the fast Ethernet. Now the thing you're going to do is you say IP address. You say we say interface fast internet. Since I connect using the internet, fast internet 0/0. Let me see if that's the interface. Very good. Now that's it. Now you go ahead and say IP address. I'm going to use the class A IP address 10.0.0.0, or let me say 10.20 network dot 23.1. Now I'm going to do it this way. Then I'm going to say 255.255 .0.0.0. Since it's what this class A IP address I'm using, then I'll click on enter. Now that's how to set your IP address. And the more you go ahead and need, the more you get to know some syntax in order to carry out on some certain things. Now furthermore, the next thing you should know is how to do other things, which we will introduce in the next video. But for this, I will be rounding up this by showing you how to do this, by showing you the proof that this works. Okay, I'm going to exit out of this one. Okay, I'm going to do WR, which means I'm saving all this configuration, and I do the WR in order to save it, simply because it's a configuration mode. Okay, which means I've saved, which means I have saved the configuration, and I want to test if it really works. Now exit. Now I've got back to the to the view show one. Now I'm going to do a show. Okay, I think I have to exit out of this first. Exit. Now show, which means I'm showing the running configuration which I set up right here. Okay guys, you're gonna see, and can you see the IP address? This is the IP address that I set just now, which means it works. Now there are some other things you need to do, which is this one: line console 0 and line auxiliary, line V2Y. It depends on what you are actually using to connect into your router. Now you have to also know how you can set up this console and auxiliary. You use console for certain things. You use console to console into the router by using POTI software. The auxiliary too is another way of you connecting into the router, such as the V2Y. So I'm going to teach you all in one at a time. This perform the line access to the router. Perform the steps to configure parameter to control access to the router, beginning in the global configuration mode, which means you are going to use the global configuration mode to learn how to do this. Now what we are going to do now is to set this up. Now I'm going to go back to the configuration mode, simply because that's the best place I can do this. Config T, which I'm using the short form. You can also use it as well. Now the first thing you are going to set up is a line console. So to do this, you say line console. That's the syntax to use to set this console up in order to open it. You say enter. Then you can give it a password. You say password. I'm going to use Cisco or Cisco. Then enter. Now I've set the password of this word of this console, which means the word people who are trying to use the console cable to access the router. It will require them the password before they could enter it. Now you say exit. Now I'll enter back into into the line line auxiliary 0, which I'm going to do here. Line auxiliary 0. Then I click enter. I'll say password, which is I'm going to use Cisco again to do this. Now I've set the password. I'll say exit again, and to do that, to do the V2Y, I'm going to enter into the V2Y console, which is the line V2Y0, to log in into that into the interface. Line V2Y0 to 4, which means all the ports from 0 to 4 will be given a password of we give you a password of I'm going to give you a password Cisco. Now this is what I've given the password. I give Cisco to all the ports, and I will exit out and exit again. Then I will do a show run to show all those running configuration. Now this is the thing. Now I will show you can you see the banner emoji, the warning unauthorized access restricted? So whenever anyone on the router, this is the first message they will see while trying to enter into your router. Can you see I set the password as Cisco, password Cisco. Now I'm going to exit out. Okay, now I am exiting out of this too. Okay, now I'm not in this now. Can you see warning unauthorized access, which was the first sign that my configuration does not fail, and it entered by seeing this warning message. Now I will try to enter into the enable mode. It's going to request me for password enable. Can you see it's asking me to put in my password, which shows that the configuration was. Okay, can you see now I've entered into the mode of viewing. Now guys, if you have been going on with this class and you're just supporting this channel, please kindly click on the subscribe button to enable you to view my next video whenever I post the next one on this Cisco router class. If you want to know more and you want to get more understanding on Cisco, don't forget to also use the comment section to let me know your concern in order for me to attend to you appropriately and efficiently. Don't forget to share it to your friends and family, or anyone that is in need of this video that needs more understanding on this area of networking. Now I'm going to do the config T, so then I can do all things perfectly. Now I will end this by saying you should have a nice day. I'll wait until the next.